The finalists in the men's floor competition in Szombathely, Hungary, in this World Challenge Cup, the last one before the World Championships. Topping qualification, surprise, surprise, Artyom Dolgopiat of Israel with a score of 14.5. That considerably stronger than Kevin Penev's 13.8, the second best in qualifying. It'll be interesting to see what she produces in the vault final. The finalists in the vault competition for women at the Szombathely World Challenge Cup. We have Charlize Mertz of Austria, who'll go third in the order as the top performer in qualification, but keep a close eye on Valentina Georgieva, as if one could do anything other than keep a close eye on one of the best vaulters in the world, because we anticipate that she will raise her difficulty by 4/10 in this final, and in doing so may well go beyond Mertz. She was 2/10 behind her in the preliminary stage.
On the floor, Ángel Barajas, Colombia.
Ángel Barajas will get things underway in this men's floor competition. Very impressive young athlete, the teenager from Cúcuta, near the Venezuelan border in the northeast of Colombia. He does well to hold that slightly low landing coming out of the tuck position. Fifth best in qualification. Isn't he a superb young prospect? Lovely little bit of elegance. Goes into those nice flares with good hip height. Good toe point as well. Touch of the balletic to accompany all that power. Oh, that's unfortunate. Didn't have the continuous rise up into handstand. Again, lovely toes in the Y position. Little wobbling around here and there, but not a great deal. And unfortunately, just couldn't get the body round in the pike position. Sitting it down and losing a full mark. And he does take a clear step out of bounds in that performance. Ángel Barajas of Colombia, the silver medalist on the horizontal bar at the Olympic Games in Paris. The first Colombian to win an Olympic medal. And if you've heard us all say that before, we offer no apology for the fact that we'll keep saying it again and again and again, because it is going to be a career-defining accomplishment for him. It's something that will go through his whole life. There's doubtless going to be more to come, but to be the first from a nation, now that is extraordinary. Look back at the flare work. And unfortunately, a little loss of stability coming out of that final tumbling pass from Ángel Barajas. We go to the women's vault competition.
The first on the vault final, Jenna Laroui, Franciaország.
Jenna Laroui of France, the 28-year-old from the lovely city of Lyon, bronze medalist with a team at the European Championships in Leipzig. And she was the silver medalist on vault at the National Championships. We anticipate a layout Tsukahara as her first vault. And indeed, that is what we get. Now, there will be vaults of considerably more complexity to come. But in terms of the crispness of it, it should do quite nicely. 12.4 was the qualification score and 8.6 for execution. Very central. Little backwards move as she lands. So 20-year-old Jenna Larue. Who competed at the Mediterranean Games in 2022. She competed at the Paris World Challenge Cup that took place quite recently. Only performed on vault.
Az első ugrása 12,650 pontot kapott a francia.
And there we go, 12.65. I'm not surprised that's a little up from qualification, a quarter of a mark stronger. Second vault to come for the French competitor. And unfortunately, she was a fair way away from landing that. Hope that she's all right, because there's a little bit of protection around the right leg to begin with. She was the 5th best in qualification. Jenna Larue picked up the 2/10 bonus for vaults operating in 2 different directions. Very compressed landing, hands had to go down. That was the vault that scored 13.4 in qualification. We'll probably see a handspring front layout half to come later from Charlize Mertz, by the way. That same vault. Now we're waiting for Artyom Dolgopiat on 4 as the score for Barajas is 12.3. So he unfortunately has dropped by 1.2 from the qualification process. Artyom Dolgopiat of Israel, Olympic champion in Tokyo, silver medalist in Paris, and the champion of the world. He'll be looking to retain his title in Jakarta. (14.5) the preliminary round score. 5.8 difficulty. Well, consider that stuck. That's such lovely pike work. It's so powerful that he's almost on the verge of being over-rotated. Tight tuck position. He's very slightly piked as he lands, but it's minimal. And that's a really difficult pass. Coming out of that very purposeful twisting to get into the tuck position, to get the body around a couple of times. Couldn't do it and will take a full mark deduction. Does hold that last tumbling pass very nicely. Artyom Dolgopiat, the gymnast who's won a dozen World Cup titles, including at the Paris World Challenge Cup recently. A little shake of the head because that wasn't quite as intended ahead of the World Championships in Jakarta. The thing to always remind ourselves of is the great complexity of his tumbling. He has got such a high degree of difficulty. Lovely, elegant pike work. I mean, this is, we imagine, going to be the most difficult routine of the final. He just didn't have the kineticism to complete that double rotation front-wise.
Zárósor pedig dupla szaltó egész csavarral.
Jenna Larouille started with a 12.65.
A francia
11.95 for the second vault, and all of that leads to a 12.3 score, and that is, regrettably for her, 8/10 lower than the qualification process.
And the next on the vault, Tiana Korent, Horvátország.
Tiana Korent, the veteran vaulter from Croatia. Fourth best in qualification. Very good handspring front pike with a half twist to open her account. Now that scored 12.8 in qualifying, a 4.0 difficulty vault. We are expecting to see one 5.0 vault to come. Very central. Very nicely aligned by the 36-year-old. Artyom Dolgopiat, 14.5 in qualification. It certainly won't be there in the final. 13.2. Now, it's not out of the question that that could still win a medal based on what we expect to come in the rest of this final and some of the difficulty levels. So we'll keep an eye on that score. It may be enough. It may just miss out. We'll see. The first vault from Tiana Korent performed. Now we go to the second. And the full twisting Yurchenko, a little sense of wildness in the form that perhaps wasn't there in the handspring front pike half. The gymnast who has 7 World Cup medals. Has that leg separation as she's approaching the table. Does get it back under control to a degree. Almost a windmilling action of the legs.
És a talajon a következő versenyző. Next on the floor, Dmitry Patanin, Kazakhstan.
Dmitry Patanin of Kazakhstan will be the next to compete on floor. 13.45 in qualification, the 6th best. He was 4th at the recent Rhine-Ruhr World University Games. He can perform some very compelling and stylish work on this apparatus. There's evidence of it. What a nice opening tumbling pass. If he carries on in this vein, he's going to go into the lead. Lovely acute manner position. Oh, this is very elegant. Its landings are nice and secure. That's a good scale too. Just snap the leg into the wide position. There was virtually no change in his posture as he did it. And a very high final tumbling pass. Wasn't that a pleasure to witness from Dima Patanin of Astana in Kazakhstan? He has been a champion in World Challenge Cup competition on floor. It was a few years ago. It was 2022 when he started to make his World Cup breakthrough and get into finals. Lovely tuck position, gets the knees right into the chest, opens out well, judges the angle of landing. I think the execution score is going to be very interesting to look at here compared to his qualification number. And the double pike to conclude. Thought he was going to hold on to that, won't pick up the 0.1 bonus. Tiana Korent. 13.15 in qualification, 13.05 the average score in the final. 12.9 for that full twisting Yurchenko. The execution, unsurprisingly for the reasons we talked about, is down by a couple of tenths. So overall she's 1/10 lower than the preliminary round.
Next on the board, Charlize Mertz, Austria.
Charlize Mertz from Austria, top performer in qualification, 13.75. The Olympian from Paris, who qualified through the floor route. Well, she got plenty of height, plenty of height. That we anticipate being the trickier of her 2 vaults in terms of the difficulty score. The handspring front layout half. Little imprecision in the legs. Maybe trying to get the heels closer together for tidier execution would be ideal. So that's a 4.6 difficulty vault. Dimitri Patanin, 13.9. Well done, young man. 8.6 execution compared to 8.15 in qualification. I said I thought it would be an interesting comparison to make. Pretty as a picture, that floor performance. That might well win the gold. 13.5 first vault from Mertz, and indeed the execution is down by a little from qualification. She's lost a quarter of a mark. And then the full twisting layout, Sukahara, to complete her final. The Austrian is certainly going to be a contender for a place on the podium with those 2 vaults. Won a silver medal on floor at the World Cup in Bulgaria, in Varna, earlier on in the season. That time there was a little more tightness of the leg position, the heels closer together. But she's got some power. There's real amplitude to how she makes contact with the table, the block that she gets. Martin Migic of Austria. He's a gentleman whose credentials in this floor final really will depend on the clarity of his execution. His difficulty was the lowest of any of the qualifiers with 4.8. But he performed it very tidily. Unfortunately, he's immediately taken a 0.1 penalty. This can sometimes be a bit of an issue for this very good young gymnast from Austria, translating what he's done in qualification to the final. That was lovely. Just here and there, these very nice touches of elegance. He's a very bright young man, studies at the Medical University of Innsbruck. And that was a nice poised Y position, being supported by his teammate, Charlize Mertz, watching on. Did well to hold that. I'm not sure that the form in flight was entirely just so, but the landing, that was great. And again, a good hold right at the end. A nice performance that from Martin Migic. Did have the problem with his first tumbling pass, but then got the whole thing into a very nice composed rhythm. There's a lot to like about him as a gymnast. He's from the beautiful city of Klagenfurt in the south of Austria, in the mountains. And one senses he hasn't peaked yet. There is more to enjoy from him over the next several years, I'll wager.
Az utolsó sor pedig dupla szaltó egész
He
csavarral
did
van,
rather
próbál
well.
szökkenéssel.
The look on his face shows it, that final tumbling pass. He was close to having knees on nose, but actually stayed relatively upright. Teammates together. Charlize Mertz, 13.625. A 13.35 for vault number 2, the same as qualification. She does pick up the 2/10 bonus for the vaults working in different directions off the table. She's down by just over a tenth from qualifying. Does it open the door for her? Valentina Georgieva from Bulgaria. The first vault will tell us a lot. Now, that's interesting. She chose to stay with what she did in the qualification process. Was indicating on the board a double twisting Yurchenko. In qualification, she performed a 1.5 twisting Yurchenko. And carried on in that vein. She gets unbelievable height when she vaults. Unbelievable height. We must be aware that the World Championships are coming up, and it may be that she doesn't want to take any risks. 12.85 for Martin Migic. Close to the qualification score. It's been quite a trend for Georgieva to do the 1.5 twisting Yurchenko in qualifying, 13.1 the score, and then to do the double twisting version when she actually gets into the final. But as I say, she did have a dreadful injury doing a double twisting Yurchenko at a major championships a few years ago, playing it a little safe and wise to do so, and just not looking completely right in this competition, but that's okay. That happens to all gymnasts at some point, and Charlize Mertz will stay in the gold medal position. This is the layout Tsukahara with 1.5 twists, so 2 vaults landing away from the table for Valentina Georgieva. And one of the interesting features to her vaulting is that she doesn't have the opportunity to pick up that 2/10 bonus because both of her vaults are going in the same direction from the table. We have a score of 12.65, the average for Valentina Georgieva. That's a drop of 9/10 from qualification. 12.2 for vault number 2. Special moment for this young man, Romeo Jost, from the east of Belgium in Verviers. Welcome to the senior international stage, young man, and good luck to you. He was the 3rd best in qualification. Good effort, but unfortunately sitting that opening pass down. He's aspiring with that opening pass to eventually get the double tuck into a double pike, just steadily working on that as the years go on. Needs obviously to be sure that he can keep hitting the double tuck in international competition first. But obviously so many gymnasts all over the world are working on upgrades in training while they are refining things in competition. It's the nature of trying to be competitive internationally. He's settled nicely into this. That's shown character. And unfortunately, just after things seem to get so much better, the final tumbling pass problematic, just as the first was. The bits in between were lovely. And let's face it, next time they make a World Cup final. Perhaps just heading a little too much on the diagonal, going into the tuck position out of the twist. Not enough upwards momentum. Double layout had a powerful sense to it.
És már is visszakanyarodunk ugrásra. Next on the vault,
We
Marina
go to the
Escudero,
second half of the women's vault competition. This is Marina Escudero from Spain, the 8th best in qualification. Not yet 17. We congratulate her on winning the all-around gold medal at the Spanish League final earlier this year. It was a rather compressed vault from Escudero. That scored 13.1, the first vault in qualification.
Most idén versenyzik először a felnőttek mezőnyében. Jurcsenko indítású ugrást választott.
Hand does go down, the left hand.
Nyújtott testű szaltó dupla csavart mutatott be. És közben
Romeo Jost, 10.75.
750 000 pontot kapott a belga versenyző.
I think what's interesting about Escudero's first vault was that she did a full twisting Yurchenko in the qualification phase, went for the double, which she'll lose a mark for the hand going down. Certainly looked like it anyway. So it'll be much of a muchness. In fact, it is a fair bit lower, 12.45. The form in flight also wasn't that strong. Nonetheless, certainly the ambition is there to produce that double twisting Yurchenko vault. And has a little trouble with the handspring front tuck salto, the second vault. That's the much simpler vault. 3.6 degree of difficulty. Lacked a little clarity on both occasions, unfortunately. Jarred landing, actually from the side it's not too comfortable to look at because she was close perhaps to having those knees lock. At least she's okay by the looks of things. Great young gymnast. Going to be so exciting to see how her career develops.
Next on the floor,
Bogdan Suprun of Ukraine. .2 was his qualification score, the 8th best. Oh, good hold, well done. That was cat-like. It will still carry several tenths of deduction because it was quite a big step. But he held it, and in this final, the way things are progressing, that could actually make a difference. What he's got to do now is to keep the remaining landings as tight as possible and as crisp as possible. Some of the form actually in flight is providing opportunity for deduction. Nice planche. Arabesque style balance was very secure. Stag jump into the corner to make it a meaningful placement. And a good double pike to finish. Some very pleasing work from Bogdan Suprun. The gymnast who's at the National University of Physical Education and Sport in Kyiv. It was founded in 1930, renamed after independence to reflect its new status as a national university.
Szukli egész csavar, és dupla zsugor, előre szaltó az első sor.
That's what I was referring to, the slight wildness of some of the form in flight. The ankles rather crossed over. Showed good strength here.
Nem akrobatikus elemet láthattunk tőle a talajon, és az utolsó sor pedig egy
Maybe
dupla
a
bicskaszaltó volt.
slightly open pike position at the end. That could be an indictment from an execution perspective. Escudero 11.85. That is just over a mark down from qualification. 11.25 for the second vault, the really pronounced drop.
És a következő versenyző ugráson. Next on the board.
Reason for her to be optimistic about this final. She's got a real chance. Greta Moyer of Hungary, the national champion on this apparatus 2 years in a row. She does take a step out of bounds for that first vault, the Podkopayeva. Not a hugely common vault to see in international competition. A very interesting vault to watch. It's a busy vault. The round off half on, front pike, half off. That's a lot of activity.
A Dunaújvárosi versenyzőnő ugrása.
And I'm sure there are many of you out there who are fans of the great originator of that vault, as we see the Ukrainian score come in of 12.85 for Bohdan Suprun.
Greta első ugrását pedig
12,9 pontra értékelte. Relatively new vault actually for Greta Moyer. 12.9 the score.
Volt from Moyer Greta.
That's very stable. Layout Tsukahara with the full twist, the more difficult vault for Greta Moyer, and surely she's going to contend. Good chance to get a place on the podium. Very good chance. Will she be able to get quite as high as Charlize Mertz? A lot will depend on the execution evaluation of this second vault, because Mertz does have that difficulty advantage of 0.4 of a mark over the Hungarian. Now then, Demdendorj Engtushan of Mongolia, the gymnast who made sporting history in this very place a year ago when he was the bronze medalist on vault. Until that moment, Mongolia had never won a senior medal in a worldwide artistic gymnastics competition. It actually made the FIG's top 10 moments in men's gymnastics for last year. So big an occasion was it for his nation. Hands going down on that tumbling pass. That will unfortunately probably rule him out of contention for this final. He's such a hard-working young lad. 23 from Ulaanbaatar. His twisting work has a lot of promise to it. I think there's been some nice refinement of his skills over the last couple of years. And really, most of that was extremely elegantly performed by Demdendorj Engtushan of Mongolia. Mongolians have traditionally excelled in aerobic gymnastics, where they've had some very fine performances at international level. They've been World Championship medalists there, but he was the first artistic gymnast to win a medal in a worldwide competition for seniors. Obviously, one must acknowledge Gambatyan Erdenebold, who won the vault title at the Youth Olympic Games in Singapore in 2010.
És a zárósor dupla bicska szaltó apró elszökkenésekkel. És nézzük Gréti pontszámát.
13.4 silver medal position for Grete Moya. 13.5 for the layout Sukahara with a full twist. That's a 10th up from qualification.
And now on the
Still,
board, Bilge
Mertz
Tarhan,
leads
Törökország.
to Bilge Tarhan from Turkey, the 21-year-old gymnast who has just competed at her second World University Games, and she's been a vault finalist there on both occasions. She's also just had a brilliant time at the National Championships. More on that in a moment. Full twisting Yurchenko. Little lack of tidiness in places. But back to those national championships, the all-around title, the vault title, the beam title and the floor title. Enormous congratulations to Bilge Tarhan on that accomplishment. There's a slightly wild feel to aspects of that vault, which will lead to some execution deductions. But she gets it under control quite quickly. So it will still score decently. 11.55 for Dendondonge-Intouchin. And I can tell you that means that Artyom Dolgopyat has got a medal, with Patanin guaranteed at least the silver. 12.65 for Bilge Tarhan. Execution quite a bit down from qualification by 4/10. Handspring front pike with the half twist of the body for Bilge Tarhan's second vault.
A versenyző második ugrása egy kézen átfordulásból indított bicska előre szaltó félfordulattal.
She was the sixth best in qualification, 13.075. Again, clear execution deduction to be taken. This time the landing, that's the most pronounced one. Big back step. Perhaps the form in flight is a little more secure on this occasion.
And the last competitor on the floor, Kevin Penev,
There is no
Bulgaria.
doubt that we finished one who's got a real chance. Kevin Penev of Bulgaria, 13.8 in qualification, 13.9 is the leading score. That's Dmitry Patanin. Then it's Artyom Dolgopyat, 13.2 in the silver medal position. The execution of Penev in qualification was 8.4. This is quite a difficult routine. What one has to watch out for, little incremental landing deductions. There have been small adjustments, but his form in the air is always very compelling. He's a very clean gymnast in flight. He's been a World Cup medalist on this apparatus and wasn't a million miles away from the Olympic final. Just missed out on the top 10 in Paris. Interesting. One imagines that is going to impact the leaderboard. Kevin Penev from Bulgaria, born in New York. He was fifth on floor at the European Championships in Leipzig earlier this year.
Olimpikon 2023-ban már a világbajnokság ugrásdöntőjében is láthattuk.
Certainly little landing deductions, but in the air, like that double tuck, for example, very symmetrical, very clean. So it will be interesting to look at that execution number compared to the preliminary round. We just remember that Dmitry Patanin produced such a beautiful, solid display. The guitar hand, fourth place, not quite, 12.8, 12.55 for the second vault. Her execution on both vaults down by a few tenths each time compared to qualifying.
Jasza Kiselev, Slovenia.
Jasza Kiselev of Slovenia. Seventh best in qualification, a score of 12.95. The 32-year-old could potentially contend. Well, she does manage to stay upright, landing the Yurchenko 1.5. Execution in qualification 8.6. It will be interesting to look at this one again. Has a fair amount of leg bend as she's performing, but she holds a decent central line. Kevin Penev, silver medal for him, 13.6. 8.2 for execution was a little drop from qualification, just 2 tenths down. 13.1 for Kiselev. It's a tenth lower than the qualification phase. That knee bend will be one of the major reasons for it. Now, can she push for a place on the podium? Not on that occasion, unfortunately. Goes to ground on the second vault, and that's likely going to keep things as they are, with Mertz in first position, Moya second and Korent third. And if that's the case, then it means 36-year-old Tiana Korent has just won her 8th World Cup honours.
De ugrás közben már érezhette, hogy nem úgy jött ki a lépés, ahogy kellett volna.
It's interesting. She was indicating on the board that she was going to do the handspring front tuck with the full twist. But just went for the handspring front tuck. That's what she did in qualification, 3.6 difficulty. This is the last score to come in, and it is 11.8. Unfortunately for Kiselev, that second vault, 10.5. So quite a drop from qualification on what was not a hugely difficult vault by comparison to what we'd seen in the final from others. The classified results in the men's floor competition. Bronze won by Artem Dolgopyat of Israel, silver by Kevin Penev of Bulgaria, and the gold medal to Dmitry Patanin of Kazakhstan, his second ever World Cup title, and the first for 3 years. The classified results in the women's vault final. The bronze medal won by Tiana Korent of Croatia, silver to Hungary's own Greta Moya, and the gold medal to Szombathely Mertz of Austria.
On the third place, Artem Dolgopyat.
Dolgopi out of Israel, the winner of the bronze medal.
Második helyen végzett, on the second place, Kevin Penev, Bulgaria.
Kevin Penev of Bulgaria, the last to perform and the winner of the silver medal.
És a talajdöntő bajnoka, on the first place, Dmitry Patanin, Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan's Dmitry Patanin, with an extremely clean and elegant performance, wins the gold medal, the second of his career in World Cup competition.
Kérem, hogy álljanak fel a kazakh nemzeti
And we'll now have the national anthem of
Please stand up
Kazakhstan.
for the national anthem of Kazakhstan. Gratulálunk, congratulations!
The medalists in the men's floor competition at the Szombathely World Challenge Cup. Gianna, Croatia, the winner of the bronze medal, the 36-year-old whose first World Cup honours came almost 2 decades ago.
Második helyen végzett Mayer Greta, Magyarország.
Greta Meyer of the host nation brings joy to the people of Szombathely with this silver medal winning performance on vault. Special moment for their two-time consecutive national champion.
On the first place, Charlies Merz, Austria.
But what a display this was from Charlies Merz of Austria. Some strong difficulty, some real power to her work. And more international success for the Austrian.
Kérem,
The
hogy állva
first
hallgassák meg
Austrian
az
to
osztrák
win
himnuszt.
a World
Please
Cup
stand up
gold
for the
medal in
national
women's
anthem of
competition.
Austria.
She's done it again.